Today I am joined by Viktor Lazarevich, CTO and Co-Founder of Digiteum. With more than 20 years of experience, Viktor has been helping organizations implement digital technologies and design effective data and AI strategies. He specializes in building scalable technical solutions that deliver real value for healthcare. Viktor, great to have you with us. Viktor, first of all, you have helped healthcare institutions like Chronosci and Diaceutics. What are you most proud of?
The biggest uplifting moments in working with organizations like this is when they actually start using the software that we built. Is looking how the software can change their daily operations, how it can change their life, be it for executives who has just better tools for making informed decision about the strategy of the organizations, or it somehow improves daily operations of regular workers. It's always very uplifting and nice to see when people start using the software, and especially when they start asking for more. This is like the best moment when you see they use it, you see they start asking, oh, can you change it also here? Or we would like also this feature. Maybe you can improve here a little bit. In this situation, you understand that you not just provided some technology to the institutions, you provide something meaningful.
Yeah. So from the design phase until all the way to the implementing phase, you are most proud when they actually start using it.
Yeah. And because you can create the most sophisticated technical solution, but if it's not really changes anything, it's just a waste of technology.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I'm very curious, how do healthcare institutions actually ensure that AI is ready to be used in clinical processes?
That's a very complicated topic, of course, because in any healthcare environment, our first focus is safety, because cost of error is very high. It's not just some social media feature for fun or whatever.
It's not just only text. It's
not just text, not just another image filter. It's something that can really be meaningful for a lot of people. And cost of errors is huge. It could be from loss of health and even loss of life. So we always need to make sure that the solutions that we provide to healthcare are properly tested for safety. And of course, another point here is trust issues, because healthcare is built on trust. For healthcare, trust is not an option, it's a foundation, basically. And of course, losing this trust by providing suboptimal solutions or something that is unsafe could be very damaging for healthcare institution. So there are, of course, multiple ways to achieve this level of safety. It's, of course, clinical trials. Every solution that we provide need to go through the processes of clinical trials. It's peer reviewing when other healthcare professionals can look at the data that comes in, the data that is being produced, which decisions have been made, and so on, and correct and provide feedback. And of course, we always need to adhere to the standards that exist in this in the field.
Yeah.
There are a lot of standards. Every country, every region has their own set of standards. Every industry, every branch of healthcare, of course, there are a lot of different standards. And of course, any AI or any technical solutions that is being provided to healthcare organization need to adhere to the standards to be able to be safe and trustful.
Yeah, so when talking about standards, this is maybe the right bridge to also how should hospitals or maybe healthcare institutions manage data protection and GDPR, because GDPR is in general in Europe applicable everywhere. What's your advice?
Yes, very sensitive topic. A lot of institutions struggle with it. But in reality, adhering to standards is actually beneficial. It's not always a roadblock in the innovation. It's rather a stepping stone which can help institutions to overcome fears and anxieties in developing or deploying this AI solution or any kind of technical solution. So, of course, there are a lot of technical challenges that our company dealing with on a regular basis. For example, the data must be anonymized when provided to any kind of AI system. By anonymizing, we mean that we need to remove any personal identification. So we just replace people names with some numbers. We replace their home addresses or email addresses or phone numbers, anything that could be treated as personal identification, because AI model doesn't need to know it to make these decisions. They just need to know that it's, for example, female, age, gender, age, and maybe occupation, maybe some heritage from family, if there were cases like this in parents or grandparents or whatever. But that's all the AI model needs to know to make the decision. And this is another point, is data minimization. We should only use data that absolutely necessary and do not give or share with AI anything that is not needed to do the task. So, for example, for diagnosis of some diseases, it's important to know previous diagnosis history. But it doesn't mean that we need to provide the entire diagnosis history of this particular person. So, for example, to diagnose diabetes, it's important to know if there is history of diabetes in the family. But it's not important to know that this particular person had flu earlier this year. So the data minimization principle that we always adhere to actually says us to use as little data as possible.
That's quite interesting. So you're using a minimum set of data in order to also anonymize it, but also making relevant analysis out of it. So just an interesting question is, who is actually liable when an AI model makes a mistake then in the end?
That's a really tricky question. In modern world, when AI is involved, traditional liability frameworks, they might not fully apply to the situation. Because it's really important to have a human in the loop anyway. Because when we have humans that are making all these decisions, we can apply our traditional liability frameworks. So, for example, in this case, we have three different parties. We have technology companies who are providing the solution. We have institutions who are responsible for deploying and training. And we have people in the field, clinicians, who are actually using the system to provide some diagnostic results or some decisions based on the recommendations of the engine. And of course, in this particular case, technology company is responsible for technical issues, crashes, performance degradation, and so on. And also they are responsible for false or misleading claims. If they claim that their system does this and it doesn't, that's their responsibility, of course. Institutions are usually responsible for proper deployment of the system, training of their personnel, and if they deploy untested system, just hoping for the best, it's their responsibility that they didn't do their job. And clinicians, of course, they are responsible for interpreting the results and proper use of the system. They should not try to break it, for example, or deliberately make it to produce incorrect results. Of course, it's their responsibility to use it properly. and of course to interpret the results. So if they trust blindly and not put any thoughts on top of it, that's their responsibility in case of any mistake.
Yeah, so you actually described those three separate groups who are responsible or liable for their specific domain. And also what I can imagine is that maybe for some healthcare professionals, AI models can become a little bit of a black box for them. How do we actually prevent them for seeing AI as a black box?
Lack of transparency or interpretability could be a big blocker on the road to adoption of the AI technologies. When people don't see how it works, they don't trust what it says, obviously. So there are, of course, a lot of ways to prevent it. So, for example, we need to provide as simple reasoning as possible, not going into any technical details or some other details that are not relevant for the situation. And of course, the system should always provide with confidence levels, or how sure that this particular result is actually true. So it's not just this is diagnosis, but the system should provide something like 70% this diagnosis and maybe 10% this diagnosis.
Yeah.
In this case, clinician can see that the system is not perfect, and we still need to keep an eye on it, and still need to have final human judgment on top of it. And this also builds trust to the system, because you clinician do not see it overconfident. See it more like a partner or helper or assistant rather than authority, which is very important in preventing this black box situation when clinician just doesn't understand what's going on inside.
Yeah, I can imagine. So transparency is a very important factor, as you mentioned, but also human judgment in the end, that the human factor should be a top component in actually making decisions in the end. What I can imagine is that a lot of hospitals or healthcare organizations already have existing electronic healthcare record systems. How do we actually integrate all those AI initiatives and all those AI tools becoming an integrated tool also with the current EHR?
Yes, that's actually very important, because if people in the field just forced to use just another system, it could really impact their performance and their motivation to use it. So they would avoid using it whenever possible, just because it's hard to use. Of course, ideally, it should be integrated directly into their workflows, ideally in their existing system. If it's not possible, the transition or switch between different apps or platforms should be as seamless as possible, like with just a simple click. In most situations, would solve the issue. And of course, we need to provide people in the field who are working with the system itself a way to provide feedback, so they feel that they are part of the ongoing process of improvement. Otherwise, they would just feel that it's something external, something we do not want to deal with. And as long as they have this attachment or emotional connection to the system, it makes their life much easier and more meaningful.
Yeah, so when you're used to using an existing system and you're really used to current processes, it may be sometimes a little bit hard to adopt new technologies. And for instance, nurses or physicians, you really need a high adoption rate in order to make new AI technologies a success factor. What is your recommendations in adopting these technologies?
Yeah, sure. There are like several major roadblocks on the way to adoption. So of course it's skepticism. Not everyone believes in AI, for example. Not everyone believes in technology in the first place. A lot of people still believe that pen and paper is the best way to do the job. And another roadblock is perceived complexity. When people just think it's too complicated for me, I cannot use it, I will fail, and so on. And of course, it's biases. So people might think that AI always provides wrong results. Of course, there are ways to deal with it. First of all, it's to provide like adequate training when we focus on like specific use cases rather than just on technical details, or rather than just talking in general about AI. But instead of this, if we focus on specific cases, how AI can solve this particular problem, that particular problem, not every single problem that exists, but your specific here, and there. And if we communicate it clearly and specifically, people tend to be more open towards AI. And of course, the best course of action is to find someone who really into this technology. We usually call it champions, or how to say? We usually call it AI champions. People who have already some authority in the organization, have some trust and respect from other people. And if this person can tell everyone around that AI is not bad, it's not that complicated, it's not that dangerous, and so on, people tend to follow their advice, follow their example, and be like more open to it.
Yeah, very interesting. So those data champions or even data ambassadors are very important in order to make those people enthusiastic and also make the stories very specific and smart for the end users, right?
Yes.
What I heard before, also in some other AI stories, is that data fundamentals, data quality, is very important in order to achieve the right results, in order to even implement AI. How do you actually ensure that data quality is in the right place in order to train AI?
Yes, of course, data quality is extremely important. You cannot have good AI without good data. That's like number one prerequisite. There are ways to improve data quality. So first of all, we need to make constant audit of the data. So we need to check if the data is good enough, if it's check it for completeness, for consistency, for correctness. If possible, implementing automated checks would be like the ideal scenario. But if not, manual checks, regular checks could be also fine. Of course, breaking data silos is also a huge step into improving data quality. So, for example, if data is just collected and not being used, nobody knows what quality of the data is. And it might turn out that at the moment you need to use this data, it appears that the data quality is just not here. We collected like a lot of data, but it's useless just because it's quality. So when the data is being used, when you break down the silo and you start using this data, you can see the problems in the data quality much earlier than when you need to implement an AI system, for example. And of course, the biggest challenge for any organization is to understand where exactly data quality is lacking, what data we need to improve, where do we put these checks for correctness and completeness. We usually, as a technology company, we help organization to understand their data landscape, to understand all the connections that they have between data, where the data is being siloed, where the data is being used, how it's being governed, and so on and so forth. So we have like good experience dealing with this kind of problems.
Nice, good to hear. So you have these very logical steps and this very good methodology in order to help healthcare organizations to improve their data quality and help them really to move forward in these steps of data quality. Interesting. So in this interview I just had this morning with Rijnstate Hospital, we also talked about having a solid business case when it comes to data and AI in order to make people enthusiastic. And the CIO of Rijnstate Hospital, he didn't really believe in making very big or making very solid business cases. What is your recommendation when it comes to business cases with AI?
Of course, if any healthcare organization just starts thinking about implementing AI, it's never makes sense to implement a full-scale solution just out of the bat. Of course, it always makes sense to do a pilot project or implement some phased approach when you do like small change, small process, small department in the organization, and see what measurable results you can get out of this pilot project. And as soon as you have measurable results, you have all the data you need to make a decision, either to go next to the next phase, like bigger project, or to go full-scale deployment across the entire hospital or entire, I don't know, country. But you need to first start small. You need to do proof of concept that the concept that you are trying to implement actually works, actually possible, because it's not always the case. There are a lot of hype around UI, and people usually claim something that AI cannot do. But in order to understand if you can do it, you need to do it at small scale.
Yeah.
And then go further based on the results you achieve.
Yeah, so don't wait for the solid business case. Just start small.
Just start small.
Yeah, keep
maybe even in non-clinical situation. Maybe you can use some kind of AI to improve your logistics.
Yeah, administrative processes.
Hiring pipeline. Whatever you have, you can improve with AI. It doesn't have to be clinical processes.
Interesting. So how do healthcare organizations or hospitals even make sure that their AI models stay up to date or that we keep the data accurate?
Yeah, of course, this could be an issue for healthcare organization to use outdated models. Some data that is not relevant anymore. Some, I don't know, some new processes, new practices implemented in the healthcare that didn't get into the AI models because it was built a while ago. Of course, it's very important to keep all the data up to date. To do this, organizations just need to distribute responsibilities across different teams. So some teams need to constantly monitor what is the performance of the model. Is it acceptable at this point, or it starts degrading? Other teams need to make sure that the data, new data being collected, corresponds to the standards of the AI model, so it can be quickly, without any additional cleanup or additional effort, could be fed into the AI model to improve its performance. There should be like technology teams that are constantly trying to come up with additional ideas, additional like better models that would improve its performance and results. And all these teams need to work in close collaboration, just to make sure that this feedback loop is as efficient as possible.
Yeah, interesting. So when you describe those different responsibilities in terms of improving AI or maybe the performance of AI, then I can also imagine that hospitals or healthcare institutions are very interesting in working closely together with external parties, like for instance Digiteum or the tech startups. How do they collaborate effectively with these kind of organizations?
It could be an issue for a lot of organizations, but there are general strategy for healthy collaboration between healthcare institution and some external vendor. So first of all, everything need to be contractually set up in advance. Who owns the intellectual property, who owns the infrastructure, who owns the model, who owns the data, and so on. So everything must be included into the contract. That's number one. So no healthcare institution wants to find itself in a position when they paid for a solution and they do not own it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, that just doesn't make sense. Of course, any vendor must be forced to follow open architecture and open standards, because when they do something with proprietary technology, nobody else can pick it up and improve on it. And this would result in vendor lock-in, which is also not a very pleasant situation to be in. So as long as everyone is following open standards and open formats and open architecture, it's much easier to scale and much easier to change platforms, change vendors, change everything you want. And of course, you shouldn't go all into one vendor. You need to start small, of course, and then scale based on trust, based on results, based on performance, and everything. So in the natural growth is always produce stronger bonds between organization and technology partner.
Yeah, and maybe also build some internal knowledge and expertise in order to become, in the end,
the final owner, of course.
Yeah, independent from external parties. Thank you, Viktor, for these very important and very interesting insights in this talk. And I think when the watchers view this, they have learned a lot with regards to AI in healthcare. So thank you for being here. Thank you for participating.
It was a pleasure being here as well.
Want to learn more about this topic? Download this white paper from Digiteum. You can find the link in the comments. Digiteum has established itself as a trusted partner in the healthcare sector and beyond, serving as the official technology partner of Diaceutics, Sanofi, and Oxford University Press.